Yo, what's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we are live checking out Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, okay? Xbox Game Showcase has a deep dive today that was available via the Xbox podcast, and I wanted to take a look at it with you guys. And beyond that, I want to also, we'll deep dive into this footage, and we'll see what there is to see. But at the same time, I also want to go through all the footage we've seen so far and just kind of look at things, point out little things that I observe, things that I'm excited about. This will be a deep dive into Metal Gear Solid Delta. I'm a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Subsistence. I played these games multiple times, love them dearly. I couldn't be more excited to see these games come back in a whole new way. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, say hello in the chat, all that good stuff, so you don't miss out on future videos, podcast episodes, live streams, all that good stuff. After this, we are going to kick off a bunch more demos. I have a bunch of more demos that we're going to do back-to-back tonight. So yeah, let's dive into it without further ado here.
Ratings for games in this podcast are pending. Hey everyone, welcome back to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox. And all this week, we're diving deep into games you've seen at the Xbox Game Showcase. And if you've missed one,
great circle coming soon.
Definitely check out youtube.com/Xbox, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts. But maybe hold on a second, because we've got a very special show and a very special guest to today's episode, which is all about Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. But before we get into it, let me introduce to you my co-host for the day, got to get this title right, the tactical espionage action expert, Jeff Rubenstein. Jeff, how's it going?
It's good. When you get to write what your own title is going to be, you can put anything you want in the prompter, as it turns out, without having to back it up.
And you're
That's crazy.
Do you have the credentials? What are your credentials for that?
I remember going as a kid next door to my neighbor Andy's house. He had the original.
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
And then I got
first-person shooter.
The original MGS when it first came out, but MGS3
Machine Games, who did the Wolfenstein games.
Plus, I was born year of the
Be
same,
awesome.
so I feel like I'm eminent.
So yeah, we'll take a deep dive whenever that,
it all just
whenever they
we're gonna take
drop that.
And we're gonna preview for that one. But Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater was announced just about a year ago, actually, and we've now seen 3 trailers. The announced one from May of last year, one at the Xbox Partner Preview, which is awesome, and that was the first in-engine look at the game. And now at the Xbox Game Showcase, of course, this past weekend. And there's a lot to talk about.
It looks so good.
We're honored to welcome producer Noriaki Okamura into the studio. Okamura-san, thank you so much for joining us. Can you please introduce yourself for everyone and share your history with Konami and Metal Gear?
コナミデジタルでエンターテインメントの岡村紀明です。
Hello, I'm Noriaki Okamura with Konami Digital Entertainment. I've been with Konami for a little over 30 years,
The
and
dub.
I'm currently the series producer on the Metal Gear series.
に関してはこれまでもいくつかのプロジェクトに直接関わってまして、メタルギアソリッドポータブル
I've been involved with a number of Metal Gear titles, and I was also producer for Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops and Metal Gear Solid Bandesine.
No way.
そういう意味では約10年ぶりに
The digital graphic novel.
メタルギアソリッドマスターコレクションボリューム1
Now, after about 10 years, I'm back and overseeing the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which came out last year, as well as Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which we all just saw the new trailer for.
しばらく
Okay.
動いていなかった本シリーズなんですけれども
The series was pretty quiet for a while, and as a result, we started seeing new players who didn't really know about Metal
そう
Gear.
思ってます。まあ実際ネットでも
You can go online and people were saying, "What's Metal Gear?" We decided we wanted to fix that.
まあ僕や今もなおコナミでメタル
All of us on the Metal Gear team are really dedicated to making sure that the Metal Gear is still around for the future, so everyone keep on enjoying it. We look at that as kind of our mission.
まあそういった思い、それがもう僕たちの使命だと思っているので
That was what led us to making these games and to bringing Metal Gear back into action.
Okamura-san, thank you so much for joining us here all the way from Japan. So let's get into it. It's not unusual for previous generation games to make their way into modern devices. We see this pretty frequently, and they're usually actually very popular. Now, normally in a title, we'll see a word like remaster or remake, but here you've chosen the Delta character. So
Right.
do you consider Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater to be a remake,
It's branching
a
off.
remaster,
It's
or
something
something
different.
else entirely?
まずメタルギア
Delta,
ソリッドデルタスネークイーターはこれ
Well, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is more than just a remaster. This is a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake
up,
Eater,
Parker?
which first came out in 2004.
First came out in 04.
原作
Dude,
の
20 years
Everything about the story in
ago.
the game world, but we've rebuilt it with cutting-edge graphics and 3D sound,
God, looks so good.
which
Look
really
at the little
enhances
mouse.
jungle environment and makes this the ultimate survival stealth action experience.
Yeah, and is there any additional meaning to having Delta in the title that we should be thinking about?
タイトルにデルタをつけた背景としては
Delta is a Greek letter, and the original meaning is something like change or difference. But it also means to change the quantity of something without changing the composition or character.
Right.
ロシア語のアルファベットに
Makes sense. I mean, it's obviously not the exact same, right?
That's the core concept for the title.
Can be
Not
different.
different, but more. So we chose to represent that in the title.
So it is wild to me to think that Metal Gear Solid 3 was first released 20 years ago. That's 3 generations ago.
Oh, I never
Of course,
thought about this,
game
but
engines
what if
and
there's no load
consoles,
times
have
between
come a very
areas?
long way since then. I remember
What if
playing
it's just one
Metal Gear Solid 3
consistent
originally
experience?
on PS2 on a 26-inch
'Cause there were
CRT
lots of load
TV.
times
My
between
TV's
areas.
now 65-inch, 4K,
short
HDR.
ones,
Things have come a
but
long way. So
same.
visuals we expect are going to be a pretty big focal point here. So I'd love to hear what you're doing with Unreal Engine 5.
デルタのビジュアル制作ではですね、多く
We've been putting a ton of effort into the visuals of the jungle area that make up a lot of the game.
ジャングルのうっそうとした感じやで。
We really
Dude,
want
look at
them
that
to look and
snake,
feel
holy
like
crap.
totally overgrown, wet, humid environments.
Oh, the mud just like sinking in.
作り上げている。
Yeah, the crocodile mask.
ジャングルの
We've also created much more realistic models for the plants and animals you'll encounter there that can become fuel
Ooh.
for Snake, and stepped up the realism of the wounds you can get, or the mud you'll get covered in.
Ooh, that mud's just dripping.
そういったものも含めて、ジャングルでのミッション
So
Gross.
you'll really feel the harshness of this environment and your mission there. So definitely try it
Vultures,
on
yeah,
your
the
big
desert
screen. It's gonna look
mountains.
great in 4K.
Yeah, and I actually have a similar question about the audio. Obviously, people are playing with much higher quality headsets or sound systems than they did in 2004. And Metal Gear Solid 3's like music and voice performances are iconic. Whether it's like the theme song, David Hayter's gravelly voice that we all know, of course.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Were you able to work any magic with the original master recordings, or did you bring anyone back into the studio? And is there anything that you weren't able to do with the game back then that you can do with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater?
Yeah, something new.
音声は
Like with
当時の収録した
Silent
音
Hill,
声
we're
を使わせて
seeing
い
them
ただいていま
do
す。
things that
They're
they
using
wish
all
they
the
could
original
do
voice
with
performances,
Silent Hill
but
2
there are
back
some
in
lines
01.
where characters teach you the controls that really don't match anymore. So we actually
Right.
did get the original actors to re-record just those.
キャラクターの方々にお願い
That's fair. That's a
して
very
再現させて
minor thing. Pretty cool.
20年前はサウンドデータを
Plus, back then, 20 years ago, we actually had to compress the voice acting down a lot to fill all that audio. Today, we aren't as limited. We don't
Right.
have to compromise as much as on formats and compression, so we can actually have those performances in even higher quality.
Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on.
再生チャンネル
Dude.
数も当時は2チャンネル
We've also
Get
expanded the
chills.
compatible audio options so you can go with the original 2-channel sound or up to 7.1 channel audio.
Which didn't exist back then.
I do love that you brought some folks back into the studio to re-record those particular parts. So, what else are you looking at besides the sights and the sounds when it comes to modernizing a classic like this? I remember Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence had a new sort of a control and camera mode that was more modernized. Some people preferred that. Did you look at the controls again here?
アクションゲームにおける操作感っていうのは非常に大事なので、
Playability and controls are key to any action game, so we also gave that side of things a lot of care in the remake.
There's the
Come up
CQC.
with ways to rework the camera and the action to be more comfortable by modern standards.
三人称視点の
That's going to be good.
慣れたユーザーなら操作に伴う
So if you're more used to a contemporary third-person style, you can pick up and play Delta right away.
合わせてデルタはユーザー
Yeah, because if you don't remember, those controls in the old Metal Gear Solid games, they were
一つ目
they
が
were weird. They were
Of course,
clunky.
we
It was
had
like
the
hold
option for
L1
everyone
to
to choose
look,
the preferred
press
playstyle.
R1 to shoot,
use a
and
more
then like
contemporary
hold
overhead
triangle.
mode
It,
viewpoint, which we
it was
call
like playing a
U-style,
game of
Or
Twister.
we have Legacy style with overhead camera like the original, allowing you a view of your surroundings so you can stick to the shadows and plan your moves.
上からの俯瞰カメラで、物陰に張り付いて、
No, I always preferred the third person. Once they allowed that.
Legacy style also applies a visual filter to more faithfully recreate the screen look of the original game.
So
those are questions
okay.
that we've been
So the
wondering
people
even
that were
before this
whining,
week when you
dude,
dropped the game.
there's people all over the internet that are putting that like piss green filter over like all the footage that they've shown for this game so far, and it's like
It's not faithful to the art direction from the original. Yep.
like it's so dumb. And the dude is telling you here like we didn't like it's an option. If you are nuts about the piss green filter, you can have it. But, you know, some of us just want to enjoy modern graphics, modern art styles. We don't need the piss green all over the screen.
The trailer at the showcase.
Ugh.
So there's a lot to dig
I
into.
mean, let's go back. Let's hear it again, just in case.
Legacy style also applies
Here we
a
go.
visual filter to more faithfully recreate the screen look of the original
People are
game.
crazy, man.
Yeah, and those are questions that we've been wondering even before this week when you dropped the game, the trailer at the showcase. So there's a lot to dig into. But for players who maybe haven't played Metal Gear Solid 3 or need a quick refresher, can you tell us a little bit about the story?
本作ではメタルギアシリーズの原点となるビッグボス誕生のエピソードが紐解かれるという。
This game tells the origin story of Big Boss who becomes a driver of the story across the rest of the Metal Gear series.
なります。コードネームネイキッドスネークという後の
It takes place in 1964, the Cold War, deep in the jungle. You play as a man who will one day become Big Boss, an agent codenamed Naked Snake.
に亡命していた
Nice.
The game begins with an operation named Virtuous Mission, where Snake's mission is to infiltrate Soviet territory alone and rescue a defecting Soviet scientist. It's where the whole epic saga of Metal Gear begins. So even if you're new to the series, you can start here without worrying about missing anything.
This is a great place to jump in because it's like the oldest game in the series.
like you
It
said,
takes
Metal Gear
place
Solid 3
the
chronologically
earliest
takes
in the
place before other
timeline,
games in
even
the
though it's
series.
one of the newer
Is that why you
games.
chose to make this game first rather than like Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2?
改めてメタルギアサーガというこ
That's a good
とを俯
question.
瞰してみたときには
That's right. We stepped back and took a look at the story across the entire series, and we decided it made the most sense to start with MGS3.
紐解かれる
The
So we
origin
could
of
get
Big
more.
Boss, and where so many threads for the rest of the series stem from.
If this sells
So
well,
we're getting our look in this
maybe
trailer.
it
Our first looks really
moves
at
on.
characters like Big Boss or Major Zero, and again, the fidelity is so
God,
much
dude.
better now. It's really awesome to see. I went back and I was looking at old videos, and so I would just love to know like what the process was to make such a leap. Did you go back and look at did you look at later games in the series like MGS5, or did you look at original concept art or other source material in order to advance this facial animation so much?
ザ・ボスなどのキャラクターは、メタルギアソリッドの魅力の一つです。
One of the things people love about Metal Gear Solid are the characters like the boss. We had to
Boss.
leave all the nuances and touches that we
Yes, sir.
like about these characters while carrying over their designs in a way that works for a contemporary title.
のキャラクターの印象、どちらと比べても違和感のないような
Major Zero.
We made countless improvements and updates to the character models in Delta to make sure that characters from MGS3 could be made detailed enough that they would fit right in if we stood them side by side with characters from, for example, MGS5. And I do want to highlight them through facial animation details as well.
Right.
We found that just facial capture wasn't enough to create the same kind of expressive performances people remember from the original cutscenes. So a lot of the expressions are fine-tuned by hand.
Oh,
So
wow.
many characters. I can't wait to see what they look like now. And so that leads me to this question. A lot of people,
gonna be
including
crazy.
me, are very excited to get their hands on the controls. They want to play this game. So can you tell us when Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater will be released, Okamura-san?
まだ、具体的な時期はちょっとまだもう
He
ちょっ
said,
とだけ
"Nice
お待ちい
try."
ただきたい。
Sorry, but we can't give you an exact
No.
figure yet. Please stay tuned for future announcements.
Send the shots you don't take, right? But Okamura-san, thank you so much for joining us. Players are super excited to play the game. Any final thoughts for people who are excited, players, fans of the series?
オリジナル作
I mean, it's
Whether you're a
supposed
fan
to
of the
be this
original
year.
or Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater will be your first experience with the Metal Gear series, we think the game's going to offer plenty of joy for everyone. We'll have more to
Aw.
share on Delta in the future, so we hope you'll look forward to hearing more about it then.
Yeah,
Awesome,
Gamescom,
awesome.
Tokyo
Well, that
Game
about
Show.
wraps it up for today's Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater episode of the
That was
official
solid.
Xbox podcast. But we've got plenty more for you this week. Here's
Okay.
the schedule we're looking at, and we're looking forward to
See this
welcoming more
Indiana
guests and developers
Jones.
from around Xbox. So make sure
Maybe
to
that's
join us
later
back
this
here
week?
tomorrow. And
I
in
don't
the
know.
meantime, check out anything
could
you
be
may have
what
missed
their
earlier in the week on
schedule looks like.
youtube.com/Xbox and on podcast services by searching for Xbox Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Jeff.
I
Oh,
would
that
not
was
have
cool.
missed this for anything.
Of course not. We'll catch you next time.
All right. That was cool. That was cool. Okay, so I said we were going to take a look just kind of briefly at what they've shown so far. So this was the first in-engine look. This was when Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, it's a mouthful, was first revealed. So this was our first look, and they were basically announcing like, hey, we're running this in Unreal Engine 5. There's the satchel. That's the first thing you do in the game is your satchel gets stuck on that tree as you parachute in. Dude, look at the croc, man. That's crazy. Dude, you just snuck right by it. Oh my god, the mud dripping. Right, dirt all over the face, like caked in. You got the cover system there from Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, creeping through the grass. You got the trank gun. You got the iconic bridge scene with the secret cave under there. Okay, don't forget about that. Yep, the ledge climbing, which they didn't show. They didn't show. Can we climb up into like a crouch stance, or do we have to be fully standing up? There's your CQC interrogation grab. There's your snake. Black and red. Crap. Little crap. A little froggy! Look at the little froggy! Look at him. Look, crap. Okay, look at the froggy. Just swimming. Alright, we got Snake with the M16 going through the swamp. He's got the bandana. We got the famous camo that you wear around bricks. So, one of the special things about Metal Gear Solid 3 was the fact that you could equip lots of different types of camo for your surroundings. So, if you're in the desert, if you're in the swamp, you know, if you're in the forest, whatever, you end up with different face paints. You got the bandana or lack of bandana. And then, of course, you've got your camouflage that you can wear, which can also get, like, dirty or bloody or, you know, whatever. Little mouse in the desert. Vultures. There's the desert base with the helicopter battle. And there we got the Crocs, man. Just chilling. Yeah, that's cool. That was kind of the big Unreal Engine reveal there. And the last thing I want to take a look at, let me just close that, is the official trailer. This was from the Xbox Game Showcase a couple days ago. So yeah, I mean, this is a classic opening of the game.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yarsk in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the west. Your codename for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. The clock is ticking.
I love it.
This
Yeah,
will be
it's a good game.
mission.
All right, so a couple
ticking.
things.
I'll be referring to
Here.
you as
Let me go back.
your codename for this.
Okay, so first we got the knife. We got the comms unit right there, which goes up into there. He's got subdermal mics here that pick up. It's a throat mic, so basically he can speak at like a whisper or barely audible sound and be able to have conversations with anyone that's over the comms unit. So this is pretty cool tech for the 60s. But yeah, even stuff that exists today. I don't know where I have it, but I have one of these throat mics. I did get one. Super dope. And then after this, we're going to see...
Naked Snake.
This
I'll be
is new
referring
to
you
Metal
as
Gear
Snake
Solid
from now
3.
on.
Yeah, you got the CQC
Clock is
stance.
ticking.
You got the crouch walking, which is totally new. That's Metal Gear Solid 5 stuff that we're seeing worked into this game. This was not in the original Snake
It
Eater.
will be a sneaking mission.
So yeah, that's dope. And of course, we notice all the satchels have like physics as he's sneaking.
You must not be
You know,
seen
wrinkles
by
in the clothes, cover system
Leave
is
no trace of
introduced.
your presence.
Okay, this is incredible. The dive roll.
You must not be seen by the enemy.
Let's go through it frame by frame here. So, there's some really cool details here. No, it does not look the same on PlayStation 2. So he has this dive roll, right? He dives, look at that. Stirs up like a bunch of dirt and leaves and stuff. It's really cool how the physics kicks that like straight up. And then he cuts into a roll. And then does it right into a prone stance. Like a very speedy stealth move there. We'll watch it in full motion, but I mean it's just something that's really cool that they put in the game.
You must not be seen by the enemy.
It's really smooth, a lot of extra detail that the original game did not have.
Is the Fox unit special.
Yep.
In other words, is that
And
clear?
last right here, you've got the secret cave under the bridge is over there.
Infiltration is the
Left
Fox
side.
unit special. In other words,
And then we got the croc mask that you get later in the game. You can put that on and kind of blend in the swamps. Like you can basically just kind of hover over the top of the water, and it gives you a way to like see the guards and stuff, and they'll just think you're a croc, and they're not gonna shoot you or anything. So that's really cool.
weapons and equipment to procure on site.
Yeah, see, it's
That
not
goes
even
for food as
detecting
well.
him.
Your complete
Yeah, and then of course here they're showing like
weapons and equipment to procure on site.
different
Again,
animals that you can
goes for
hunt,
food
you
as well.
can trank, whatever. They're also showing the bandana, which I pointed this out yesterday, but we can notice it's actually pushing his hair down. That's how much detail the Unreal Engine affords us here, okay? Not only can we have so many things in the scene in staggering detail with amazing lighting and, you know, all this cool stuff, but I mean, we're seeing the bandana actually tighten and push his hair down, and some hair is actually overlapping it. I mean, that's just stuff you couldn't do 20 years ago on the PlayStation 2.
You're completely naked, just as
And then, of course, we've got the lighting system, which, you know, is going to make the cave stuff and the scenes where you run around with the torch. This part's going to be pretty
your
cool.
name implies.
And then, of course, we got him crawling through the mud, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, the backwards crawl is new because that was kind of only a thing that you could, you know, some of the crawling features that they had and the diving, all of that was Metal Gear Solid 5.
You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment.
I think that's new too.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment.
The
Whose
traversal.
crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
It's the Halo's jump scene. And of course, we got the CQC here, which looks, you know, modernized and from the Metal Gear Solid 5 kind of
One-man army.
animations and playstyle smoothness. Then we got the Mosin Nagant sniper right there, which, you know, did everything just the right way. Pulls back the bolt, shell pops out, shell casing. Right, there you go. Throwing him on the ground, you make him surrender, put his hands up, he can give you his dog tags or ammo or rations, whatever gear he has.
Speak.
That's your interrogation CQC into that. I mean, everything looks really good. High detail. This is one of the military bases that you sneak into. Snake has the tiger stripe camouflage on, which looks solid. And then we got one of the iconic cutscenes here. And then, of course, we have the Naked Snake outfit, which allows you to see, you know, your blood, your scars, your if you have any bandages over your wounds and stuff, which I have more on that in a second. I have a little article on that we're going to dive into before we wrap up. And then, of course, we got the face paint. So not only do you have your various jungle camo and stuff like that, you can also accessorize with face paint, you know? Dope. We got the iconic motorcycle chase. We got the helicopter boss battle as well. That's the trank gun helicopter boss battle there in the desert. You got Big Boss there. Boss. There we go. She's the boss. Alright, cool.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
And that's iconic. Alright, there it is. So a couple of things. Couple extra things to look at before we wrap here. I have... Let me pull up this image here. Metal Gear Solid. We got Delta Snake Eater. Okay. Let me find... Yeah, this is... We go right here. This is an official image. This is from Konami. It's got the diorama here of the satchel stuck to the tree. You have to like climb up and get it. There's Snake right there. There's a patch, world's first Halo jump, 1964. The Fox patch, Snake's ID card lanyard. Then there's a steelbook case with the iconic art. Yeah, and then you got a nice collector's edition box there. So that looks really cool. I believe that's the more higher end one. I think, let me see. I have an image of the... I think there's like a collector's and a deluxe. Yeah, so if we look at the deluxe down here, it's got like some picture cards and like an exclamation mark. It looks like a sticker. It still has the steelbook, which now we can see the backside has the Fox symbol. And yeah, you still get the patch. You still get a nice box with the game and all that. You just, you know, you miss out on the diorama and the lanyard, and then of course the world's first Halo jump. So I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But I'm excited to dig into that. Anything else that I have on this? I have one article here which I want to do a little bit of a dive into because like nobody mentioned it. I thought they might even dip into it with that recent interview. Oh, come on, it's here somewhere. I know I set it aside so we wouldn't forget to talk about it. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Intel. Let me see if this is it. No, that's the announcement and reveal. I guess I lost track of that article. I'm going to check one more place because I usually keep this stuff floating around the Discord here. Okay, here it is. Yeah. This is from the official Metal Gear Twitter. Yeah, we can pull it up. Why not? We'll pull it up. So you guys can see. Yeah, Black Ops 6 looks dope. Looks interesting. But yeah, this is what we got here. The battle damage system has been upgraded with the wear and tear of Snake's clothes. I did notice that. I did notice that there were like shreds of, you know, like some of the clothing was like starting to tear and you could see the stitching. Wear and tear of Snake's clothes as well as bruises and bullet wounds on his body reflected in real time. So of course, in this little, you know, this short little clip here, which it's showing him how he puts a splint on and then wraps it in a bandage. So this was something that was in the original Metal Gear Solid 3, was you had to like learn different types of wound care. Like if you had a burn on your body, you had to use like a special type of ointment for that. You know, if you had like a cut, you would put antiseptic on it and then you'd wrap it in a bandage. You know, bullet holes kind of had their own way of doing things, broken arms. Obviously, we're seeing that here. So, I mean, you had to manage your health, you had to eat, which meant that you had to hunt food in the jungle. That's one of the reasons why the game's called Snake Eater. You can actually kill a snake and eat it. Yeah, and then we're also seeing like the survival aspects of it, where we are, you know, going through medical care here. And so they're pretty much saying, like, you know, these wounds and these scars will persist throughout your playthrough. So, you know, your snake might be beaten and bloody and, you know, have bandages and scars and all sorts of things. You know, some of that was persistent in the original game, but they did say that it was upgraded in the way that you will have, like, scars and, you know, persistent stuff going on there. So, that's all I have today on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. But yeah, if there's any more, stay tuned to the channel. I'll have more out. But what we're going to do now, I have a number of demos that I'm going to check out on the channel. Let me count how many we have. We have 1, 2. There's some more I want to do, but I only booked so many for tonight. 3. Oh, I forgot about that one. 4. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I got about like 7, maybe. I think that might be. I'm gonna double check my other notes over here. Yeah, so there will be a lot of different live streams throughout the night. So I will shut this live stream down and we'll start up a new one for each game. So let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7. I got 7. So we'll get through as many as we can. If we can get through all 7 tonight, we will. And I might have a few more that I could tap into tomorrow. But I also want to do Destiny 2 The Final Shape. I want to check out Alan Wake 2's new DLC as well. But yeah, tonight I thought we could dedicate it to checking out demos. So we're going to start up first with the altars. So stay tuned. I'll have that live stream up in a few moments. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this coverage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.